Hi, my name is Robert. This video is designed to give you step-by-step detailed instruction on completing the task at hand. Visit my YouTube channel and watch my disclaimer video. And please like, share, and subscribe. I hope you find the information you're looking for. Thank you very much for watching. Okay, there's primarily three things that send a car to the graveyard when you're talking about a car that's over 10 years old. Number one, an accident. An accident causes so much damage it totals the car. Number two, a broken timing belt. A broken timing belt will normally do damage to the head of a car, which will cause the repairs to exceed the value of the car, which causes people to walk away from them. Number three, coolant leaks. I say coolant leaks because coolant leaks cause a chain of events. Coolant leaks turns into the car losing coolant, causing the car to overheat. When the car overheats, it damages the motor, which normally leaves a repair in excess of the value of the car. So today I'm going to replace the coolant hoses on this 1997 Nissan Maxima. And I'm going to replace both heater hoses, the upper and lower radiator hoses, and there's another coolant hose that travels through here somewhere that I'm going to replace. Let's get started. On Maxima here, that belongs to my best friend's daughter, Emily. She's been keeping it on the road and driving it for several years, and we're doing some preventive maintenance. So let's go ahead and get these hoses replaced. Okay, here's the tools and equipment that you need to do the primary heater hoses and coolant hoses on this Nissan Maxima. I got a magnet to catch screws and washers that I drop. I got a screwdriver, 1/4-inch drive, 10 millimeter and an 8 millimeter, short extension, long extension, and 1/4-inch ratchet. I got the screwdriver, Phillips, and cross tip, and a pair of pliers. So you could do this job with that. I didn't have to get the car up on ramps or jacks. I had a pan to catch the coolant, and I got the 2 heater hoses and the 2 radiator hoses. And there's a short hose, they call it the bypass hose. It runs just on the elbow under the upper radiator hose, and it's this hose here. When I went to pick up the hoses, they gave me something else, but they call this the bypass hose. I went by O'Reilly's, I took the old one, and they matched it with this Gates hose. This Gates hose seemed to be about a 1/4 inch too long, but it's got a good curve in it, and that's the part number there. So if you get these 5 hoses, that'll do the primary hoses on this car. I went by the dealer, and the dealer claims that there's about 3 or 4 real small hoses about the diameter of my pinky finger. I'm not sure which ones they are, and a lot of times those little tiny hoses don't leak. I've never seen one leak or lose coolant. That don't mean they won't. But you may get away with changing those if you get a leak. But you definitely want to change these 4 large hoses that swell and have a lot of flex in them and leak. I've even seen this little bypass hose leak and cause somebody to overheat their car. So those are the primary 5 hoses you need to replace. If you could find the other small 3 or 4, great, replace those 2. I'm not sure if I have to get under the car, but I'm going to try to do the job without putting the car on ramps. So we'll see how that goes. Alright, I recommend that people replace their heater and coolant hoses every 10 years or when they start swelling, leaking, or getting old. The best way to check your hoses to see if they're getting old is you find a heater hose and you give it a squeeze test. If the hose is nice and pliable, it doesn't have any bulges or something in it, it may be okay. But sometimes when you squeeze these hoses, you can actually hear them crinkle. These hoses are not real bad. I didn't hear them crinkle, but one of them's getting kind of old, so we're going to go ahead and replace them. First thing you want to do is drain the coolant and catch it in an appropriate container. So I have a drain pan under it. I'm going to go ahead and take loose the lower hose and let it drain into this pan so I can reuse it. Going down under the car toward the passenger side, you can look up there and see the lower radiator hose nut clamp. It's a 10 millimeter, so you could use that or a large Phillips to get it loose. I'm going to go ahead and take that hose loose, let the coolant drain into this drain pan. While that's draining into the drain pan, I'm going to go ahead and take the top of the hose loose and have it replaced. Okay, with this upper hose off, you may be able to hear some of the creaking I'm talking about in an old hose. When I was taking it off, I could hear it creaking. Not sure if you heard that creaking or not. So I got the lower radiator hose off. And if you know that the car's taking a little long to warm up, this may not be a bad time to replace your thermostat as well. This car is warming up real fast, so I'm not going to replace the thermostat. Alright, when you put the hose clamp back on, make sure it's on the whole way around the hose. You got at least 1/8 of an inch of lip from the clamp to the end of the hose. And when you tighten it down, don't tighten it so tight that it starts to cut into the rubber. It's just to hold it on there real snug. So snug it down, don't tighten it too tight. Okay, I got the lower hose on, top and bottom. Make sure I got the clamp grabbing onto whatever stem that the hose is supposed to go onto. Have the hose tightened so that the clamp just barely digs into the hose. On that bottom hose, make sure you get it on all the way around. Down there at the bottom, you can see there's a stop at the radiator where the hose goes on and stops at the radiator. So make sure you got it pushed all the way on, all the way around. There it is, finally came in focus. And that the clamp is tight the whole way around it. To replace this upper heater hose, it's almost necessary to remove this upper air scoop intake air duct. So I removed these two clips. They're almost impossible to get out without breaking. And then on the back side of it, it has a plug on it where a sensor's plugged in. So reach back there and unplug it. And after you get that unplugged, you can go ahead and work it out. It plugs into the bottom there, under the battery box, and then it plugs into the air filter box. So go ahead and work that out. Now that I got that air duct out of the way, you can see the upper radiator hose. So take the radiator hose clamp loose, take this clamp loose, put your drip pan under there, and pull the hose loose. When you're pulling the radiator hose loose, I think it's best to twist it to break the seal on it, and just don't start pulling and jerking because you could crack the housing of the radiator. You don't want to do that. The replacement hose I got for this area under the large radiator hose right here is a little bit longer than the one that I took off. So I'm going to trim it just a little bit, and then I'm going to get a wire brush and clean off the connector because it seems to have some kind of material on it that may cause it to leak. So I'm going to clean it off with a wire brush. Okay, I got that bypass hose in place. Got the clamps on both sides. Make sure those clamps are flat and not in there crooked. Went on ahead and set the clamps in place. Then I'm going to lubricate the inside of these hoses with some coolant just to make them easier to go on, and then tighten them down. It was definitely necessary to take the air duct out because one of the heater hoses starts here and circles around the motor and goes back over there. Then the other one goes from there circles around the motor and comes up over here. So I'm gonna see if I could get these hoses off without taking some of this intake stuff apart, but I may have to take this intake stuff apart to get to those hoses. Let's see how it works out. First thing I'm gonna do is slap my drip pan under the car a little further so that it's under where I'm gonna disconnect those two hoses. Okay, I got both clamps loose, this one here and the one down here. So now there's some kind of plastic clip that I'm gonna take a screwdriver and pop loose there. That should release this upper hose. And then I'm gonna follow it back, see if there's any more of those that are securing the hose, and then take it loose at the valve or where it goes through the firewall. One little difficult part about replacing these hoses is breaking them loose from the fittings that they've been attached to for 10-15 years. So sometimes you have to wedge something on there to break them loose. If you can get some channel lock pliers on there to twist them to break them loose, that's better. But I actually had to put a screwdriver on the tip of them and pry against the metal bracket to get it to break free. Back here, past this throttle connection cable stuff, there is another clip there that holds those heater hoses, so I gotta knock that clip loose too and then take them loose at the firewall. I was able to get both hoses out of there without taking any of the intake manifold stuff off and the intake stuff off, but I did drop one of the clamps off of the lower hose, so I'll have to go get another clamp like that to put on it. Okay, I looked down in the back of the motor with my flashlight and I found that little washer that I dropped off that clamp. So I took that magnet over there and I fished it out. So I got the clamp on the top hose, put the other clamp on the bottom hose. I got them routed through their brackets. I got them secured at the heater vents. Now I'm gonna work the intake duct in place. Make sure that the end of it is secure in the bottom of the air filter box, and make sure this is plugged into that piece right there, and then I'm gonna secure the front of it on with a couple of clips. Okay, I plugged in the sensor on the back of the intake. Now I'm going to refill the radiator. All of the coolant that I can't get to fill in the radiator, I'm going to go ahead and put in the overflow tank. And I had to order the cap for the overflow tank because they didn't have one in stock at the dealer. Okay, I double checked all the connections. I'm going to start the car, drive it around, let it warm up, make sure it doesn't try to get hot, then check for leaks, and then I'm going to top off the coolant within the day. I probably lost about a pint of coolant in this change that I didn't capture and recycle. So you got to make sure that you check the coolant within the next day or two and make sure you fill up the overflow reservoir and keep it up between the minimum and the maximum mark. Thanks for watching. If you feel that this information was beneficial, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can also subscribe to my channel so that you can get notification of future videos that I post. Visit my channel. I have all types of do-it-yourself videos there. You can leave questions here and I'll try to respond to them as quick as possible. You can also visit my website at robertspinner.com. Thanks again for watching.